A German couple, Renata and her husband Volker, were thrown off a Mein Schiff cruise for something they did in their cabin that they thought was perfectly fine to do. They weren't aware of a bunch of cabin rules which, if broken, could see passengers like them, you and I, disembarked, banned for life, fined, or even have our possessions confiscated. I'm Gary Bembridge, welcome aboard. Here's what we must not do in our cabins, including, as you will see later, what Renata and Volker got horribly wrong. But first, before that, you will get disembarked and banned for life if you do what Nick Nadev did. He jumped off his Royal Caribbean balcony into the ocean in Nassau for fun and to show off to his traveling companions who filmed it. He and those friends are now banned for life from cruising. A female passenger on Allure of the Seas was also banned for climbing onto her balcony handrail to pose for photographs for Instagram or whatever. Climbing and standing on your cabin balcony railings while sailing is dangerous. People going overboard a ship are rarely found. If you fall onto the dockside in port, you're unlikely to survive. So if you're traveling with children, please make sure they're not left alone on the balcony and really understand the risks. And while we're out on the balcony, there are a couple of other things that can get us into trouble. With very few exceptions, like a couple of German lines, you're not allowed to smoke or vape on your balcony or in your cabin either. If your neighbors complain about you doing this on the balcony and you don't stop when warned, you can actually be thrown off. Now, friends of mine saw this happen to their neighbors on a recent Caribbean cruise. If you smoke or vape in your cabin, the lines will charge fees of $250 upwards to clean the room and clear the smell. As an aside, if you do sneakily smoke on the balcony, don't throw the match or the cigarette butt over the side. They can get sucked back into the ship and cause a fire. A fire on the Star Princess in 2006 was blamed on this very thing. One man died, 11 were injured, and over 100 cabins were seriously damaged by that fire. While we're still on the balcony, there is also a couple of things that you shouldn't do, which is where we return to Renata and her husband Volker. They were actually thrown off their Caribbean cruise after making love very loudly with their balcony door open in what the cruise line ended up calling a security-related incident, whatever that means. But this does raise a few cabin do-nots. First, if you do want to have sex on your balcony or sunbathe in the nude, consider that cruise lines have CCTV covering the exterior and so of course the balconies, so your efforts may be recorded. The barriers between balconies often have gaps, making it unavoidable or certainly very easy for your neighbors to spectate your activities. Second, loud noise on a balcony that disturbs your neighbors, the lines really frown upon. If you blast music through those wireless speakers you packed, or you play your musical instrument and the cruise line gets complaints, at worst, those will be confiscated. While Renata and Volker's noise disturbed, it also broke another cabin rule, which is to keep the balcony door closed. Now, I know some cruisers like to jam it open to hear the ocean when they're sleeping, but leaving it open plays havoc with the air conditioning and the amount of energy used. But if you're sailing and the cabin door is open by someone entering or leaving it, it creates a massive wind tunnel effect that will blow things all around the cabin. But talking of issues in the cabin, here though are what most people get into hot water literally with. That kettle you packed, you cannot use. You can't use anything with a heating element in your cabin unless it's been provided by the line. So for example, some lines sailing out of the UK do provide kettles and coffee makers, but you cannot plug in anything with a heating element that you brought on board. That includes irons, baby bottle warmers, electric blankets, hot plates, and so on. Most lines, by the way, allow personal hair dryers, even though they do provide them, and most of them will allow you to use curling tongs. But how you plug them in is also a potential problem. You cannot use an extension cord with a surge protector, as that could damage the ship electrical system, which works differently to the way those do on land. It will be confiscated, usually when your luggage is screened at boarding. When you leave your cabin, you can't leave things like cameras, phones, iPads, toothbrushes, and so on to charge. I've occasionally forgotten and left things charging, and I've found that the cabin stewards have been briefed and they're required to unplug those because they, again, are seen as a fire risk. And fire, as we've heard, are the thing that lines fear the most. This fear of fire is also why you can't light candles, incense burners, or in fact anything that has a flame. The smoke alarms in cabins are actually very highly sensitive settings, and so it could literally rain on your parade even if you do. If you want something to create the ambiance, take some of those little battery operated tea lights. This is actually what the cruise lines use, you'll find in their restaurants. Now, before you dig into the minibar in your cabin, take care. A few years back, assuming that all drinks on the ship were covered by my top range drinks package, I merrily used the minibar. Now, luckily, I spotted the charges started appearing for everything, including the sodas from the minibar. The prices per item, by the way, are like hotels, really, really high. If you've got a drinks package, check if the minibar is included. I certainly haven't found actually many or any lines that it is. And this is really important because more and more lines have got drinks packages included within their fares, like Celebrity Always Included, Princess Plus, Holland America Have It All, Norwegian Free at Sea. So just be careful if you have a drinks package, if it's included. If you're in a suite like I was on Cunard Queen's Grill, or you're traveling on one of the ultra luxury lines like Seabourn, drinks in the minibar are normally then included. But one watch out I've also discovered is watch out for water. Some lines include bottled water in the cabin and some don't. So again, check if that water left in your cabin is included to avoid unexpected costs. If you take items from your cabin on disembarkation, like umbrellas, bathrobes, binoculars, and so on, expect a generous charge to appear on your credit card for those items. The lines do give you the option of buying those, and it's definitely cheaper to do it that way first than take them and get charged afterwards. What about things like toiletries? Now, here I have to admit my guilt. While many lines, they're scrapping those little miniature bottles in favor of the large installed refillable pump dispensers, some do still have those fancy brand name individual bottles toiletries. Now, I slowly stash away those if they're a fancy brand like L'Occitane or Molton Brown, which I love. And if I see them getting replenished, I figure it's going to be safe to take those home. Though, this next item you are likely to be charged for. Cabin walls and most of the doors are metal, and you can stick things to them with magnets without worrying at all. If you use sticky tape or other adhesives to stick things on the wall or put up door decorations and you damage them, you could and are likely to be charged for any repairs. Post-it notes, by the way, to leave notes for your cabin steward or traveling companions, they're great to use because they don't damage the walls. One big watch out, by the way, if you on door decorations, is that almost all lines, except for Norwegian Cruise Line at the time of recording, do allow them, that they must be made of non-flammable materials or they'll be taken away. And again, that's because of the fear of fires. Let's head into the bathroom because there's also a few areas and things in there that you shouldn't do. Having been on a few cruises where toilets stopped working thanks to fellow passengers, it is frustrating, really frustrating, because this is easily avoided. Never ever flush anything other than the supplied toilet tissue down the toilet. The toilets work on a suction system and are really easily blocked. Products like wipes, feminine hygiene products are the most common causes of problems like I've experienced. Instead, you wrap those kind of things up in toilet tissue or little bags that are supplied, and you just throw them in a small rubbish bin, which are in all cruise bathrooms. You'll find a retractable washing line in the bathroom, in the shower, or above the bath, by the way. And this is because you shouldn't hang things out to dry on your balcony, where they can easily get blown off and head into the ocean. And so in addition to losing it, it's really bad for marine life and protecting the ocean. It also happened to me, by the way, and others I know, where I've stepped out of the bathroom stark bollock naked to find the cabin steward cleaning or doing a turn down and surprising them, not in a good way. So I now pop the do not disturb sign on my door in the morning or when I'm showering or getting ready in the evening. Also remember, when you step out the bathroom, consider that you may find that the ship is now docked to another one close by and you've got people looking in on you. This is probably more of an issue on a river cruise where the ship will literally be 2 or 3 feet away and people can really see in. If you have late night parties or are noisy in your cabin and disturb your neighbors, the line's security is likely to shut it down. Do it repeatedly, and lines are known to throw cruises off for this. But there is another consideration which is less serious but an important one. Loud music and TVs do carry through the walls because they're not that soundproof in reality. On a recent seaborne cruise, our next door neighbor were avid late night and really early morning full volume TV watchers. It carried into our cabin very clearly. It was kind of annoying and did put a bit of a damper on the enjoyment of our cabin. So do consider the impact the noise you're making can have on others. This brings me onto one thing that people have told me they disagree with when I've suggested it previously. I certainly try not to make a lot of mess in my cabin. Cabin stewards have a lot of work and many cabins to clean and care for. Many lines have actually increased how many cabins they now have to cover. They're on 6 or 9 month contracts. They work 7 days a week, long hours. And while of course it is their job, making it just that bit easier seems like a great thing to do. If they can spend less time cleaning up, it also means more time to do those extra touches or sort out any issues or needs that we might have. Now, if you find this all interesting and want to know mistakes to avoid when choosing your cabin, watch this video starting with the biggest mistake that almost all cruisers make. See you over there.